Two data analysts can have the exact same job title, but one makes $75,000 a year and another makes $175,000. And no, the difference is not that someone knows $100,000 worth more of Excel. The $75,000 analyst completes tasks. The $175,000 analyst creates leverage. The 175K analyst can take an unclear business problem, determine what actually matters, find the answer, and actually help the company do something with it. So if you're an analyst who wants to move at the higher salary range, I'm going to show you the technical skills, the business knowledge, and the behavior that makes someone dramatically more valuable. Okay, let's talk about the first difference. Task completion versus problem ownership. A $75,000 analyst waits for a clearly defined request. They'll ask, what report do you want me to create? Or tell me exactly what you need. They need a manager to actually define the steps or desired output. They will complete their tasks that are assigned to them, but nothing above and beyond what is actually assigned to them. Whereas a 175K analyst starts by actually identifying the decision that needs to be made. They'll ask questions like, what problem are we actually trying to solve? They'll also help to clearly define the audience, the business objective, the timeline, the success metrics. They'll take ownership in the outcomes, not just deliverables. For example, when I'm working with a 75K analyst, I'm having to outline and tell them everything that I want them to do so they can go do it. Whereas if I'm working with a 175K analyst, they're the one leading the way. They're asking me the questions, providing the recommendations, and clearly owning the outcome. So instead of me feeling like I'm in the driver's seat, they're in the driver's seat leading the way. The main thing you need to remember here is that your salary will increase when your manager can give you a problem instead of giving you instructions. Now, let me repeat that. A problem versus instruction. For example, a stakeholder may request a dashboard. The 75K analyst builds the dashboard. The 175K analyst discovers that leadership does not need a dashboard. They need one metric, an explanation of why it's declining, and a recommendation by Friday. That's the difference. Not being an order taker, but being a true consultant and being a trusted business partner. All right, number 2, tool knowledge versus technical ability. The tools I see a 75K analysts use are, 1, they have strong Excel knowledge. They know 1 or 2 visualization tools. They can clean and analyze data responsibly. They may know some basic SQL, and they perform well inside an established technical environment. Whereas a 175K analyst can use advanced SQL. They can retrieve unstructured data. They can determine which database to use. They can connect to APIs, pipelines, data models. If they need to pull out some Python and use Python, they can do it. Spreadsheets are not their only language. While they're proficient in spreadsheets, they're not their only language. They understand statistics, data quality, governance, validation, and can work with specialized tools, including geospatial platforms. I will oftentimes see them using AI to research, code, document, analyze, and automate. They use AI as a partner and not just someone who they rely on to get their work done. But they also learn unfamiliar tools really quickly when a project requires them. So what's the main difference? Is it one knows advanced SQL and Python and the other doesn't? No, not at all. The difference is the higher value analyst does not need to know every tool. They know how to learn, evaluate a problem, and apply the right tool. And this is where I see so many analysts go wrong. They think that knowing Tableau or Power BI will make you worth $100,000 plus. However, knowing what the business needs and being able to learn what is required to deliver it, that is what's going to get you in the 100,000 plus range. Okay, this one is so important. And this is about using AI versus being an AI orchestrator. The 175K analyst does way more than prompts in ChatGPT. They break down complex assignments into steps. They give the AI the correct business and data context. They use AI to accelerate their SQL, Python research and documentation, not replace it. This is very important. I see a lot of people thinking they can get by without actually knowing SQL, Python, etc. No, they use it to accelerate it. They also connect multiple tools in a repeatable workflow, and they protect the confidential information that the company has. But most importantly, they test their code, their calculations, their citations. They recognize that AI is a thought partner, not a thought leader. And so they are the ones still in the driver's seat evaluating the outputs of AI. This is so essential for an analyst because if you provide wrong numbers, that is not a good sign. We're talking about how to accelerate your career and growth. Wrong numbers through AI hallucination is not the way. So the key point here is that the 75K analysts rely on AI to do their job for them. Whereas 175K Analyst uses AI as an accelerator. They're still in the driver's seat. AI is who they're orchestrating. Okay, so if you want to become the kind of person that can work with AI at this level, join my newsletter. Every week, I break down the tools, strategies, and skills you need to become an AI orchestrator and stay valuable as work is going to continue to change. The link is in the description. Okay, now, drum roll please. Because technical skills are only part of the equation, let's talk about what's really going to separate the 75K analyst from the 175K analyst. And that, my friends, is soft skills. Okay, this one, I wish I could get this across for every single analyst. And this is that reporting activity does not mean creating business value. You think you're doing your task in your job, but you're not actually changing the business. What do I mean? Every organization needs to make money, save money, reduce risk, and move faster. And if you can learn those 4 things and help the organization do one or multiple of those 4 things, you are going to be creating business value. So let's look at what the 75K analyst does. They report on what happened. They focus primarily on metrics. Many even struggle to connect the analysis to the organization strategy. Remember, task-oriented. Tell me what to do. I do what you told me to do, and then it's done. They are not thinking, how does this help our business make money? How does it help us save money? How does it help us move faster? Or how does it help us reduce risk? Whereas the 175K analysts, they explain why something happened. They qualify if this is even a financially viable option to do. They may go to a stakeholder and say, hey, love the question, love that you want a dashboard of this, but what decisions are you going to make? How is this going to help impact the business and help it make money? Remember, not an order taker, a thought leader. They also identify what's likely to happen next. They provide recommendations to the organization. So they're not just thinking in the data, they're thinking about how can this help the organization be better? And they connect the analysis to the leadership's current strategic goals and priorities. Let me say that again. They connect their analysis to the leadership's strategic goals and priorities. Okay, please do this. Your leadership will love you. It's so easy, just do it. Here's an example of the difference. Don't say, customer churn has increased by 2 percentage points. Instead, what you would want to say is, if this trend continues, we could lose anywhere between $4.2 million of annual revenue. Boom! That has so much more impact. And if you found that as an analyst in my company, I would say, thank you so much. Now, how do we mitigate it and what recommendations do you have? These are 2 completely different ways to address the problem. Same problem, same factual information, but one understands and cares about the business, the other does not. So what's the difference? The 75K analyst gives leadership information. The 175K analyst helps the leadership make decisions. Okay, this one may be a little bit tough to hear because a lot of people I see are like, my manager should help me and they're there to remove my burden. Yes, that's true, but if you want to be the 175K, you should be removing their burden. So let's talk about some warning signs. If your manager is constantly having to follow up with you, has to fix your work, or has to make sure that they're taking things off your plate because you're overwhelmed or it's too much, you're probably in the 75K analyst section. Whereas if you create a plan and a timeline and you manage it, you identify risk early. You come to your manager with 3 recommendations. You've thought about how to solve the problem. You're communicating proactively. You're not waiting for them to find the issue. You're also looking for things to take off their plate. Hey, I see you're doing this. This is something I could take on. The more you free up your manager, the more they can move up the ranks, the more you can move up the ranks. It's a very simple equation. And last but not least, you're gonna make your manager look prepared and effective. You're a team, you're a unit. Help them do their job better, and they will help you do your job better and help you move up the ranks. So if your manager is taking responsibilities away from you, that's a warning sign. If they keep trusting you with larger and more ambiguous problems, that's a sign that your value is growing. Okay, 2 more points, and these ones are golden nuggets, so you don't want to miss it. Number 1, reporting problems versus providing recommendations. Oh, I cannot forget this at all, because when I was a first-time analyst, this was my boss's biggest complaint. Oh, y'all come to me with the data, but nobody provides a recommendation. Why does nobody provide a recommendation? I need a recommendation. And this is why she was right. 75K Analyst, the data is broken. What should I do? Help me fix my problem. The 175K Analyst, the data pipeline failed, and tomorrow's report will be delayed. We have 3 options. I recommend option 2 because it gives us the best balance of speed, accuracy, and I need your approval today by 3 p.m. Oh my goodness, when I have team members that come to me with those recommendations, I want to kiss their forehead. It's so good, okay? You know why it's so good? Because, hey, it shows me you're in control. Yes, you found an issue. Gonna find issues. Always have issues. But 2, you assess the problem, provided recommendations, and you gave me a concrete timeline for when you need an answer by. That is a golden nugget. So here's a quick framework on how you can start to do this. 1, whenever you have a problem, first state the problem so that they understand what it is. 2nd, explain the impact of the problem so they know how big it is. 3rd, make 3 viable options so they understand that you've thought thoroughly about the options. And 4th, make 1 clear recommendation so that they know you're in control and you have a clear understanding of what the path forward is. You see, senior level ownership does not mean hiding problems or pretending to know everything. It actually means making the problem easier for leadership to evaluate and to resolve. Okay, this is the last point of separation, and this one I love because I don't hear it talked about often, but it is a good one. And that is presenting analysis versus influencing action. Okay, and this builds off of the recommendation standpoint. Remember, we're not order takers, unless you want to be a 75K analyst. But if you want to be a 175K analyst, you are influencing action. See, the 75K analyst explains every step of the process, presents dozens of charts, focused on how much work was required in the analysis. And they also use the same level of detail with every audience. They don't understand that presenting to a board, executive audience, directors, individual contributors is all a different presentation. Whereas the 175K analyst, they lead with the conclusion. They distinguish between interesting and important information. They adapt their message for executives, technical teams, and customers. They communicate uncertainty clearly. They make those recommendations. And most importantly, they influence action without needing formal titles. Okay, let me say that again. Please, 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 please listen to this part. They influence action without needing formal authority or titles. I have so many people who come to me, oh, Sadie, I can't tell people what to do, or I can't make recommendations because I'm not a VP or I'm not this. No, that's how you get to that level. You get to that level by already exuding and showing that authority, not waiting for somebody to put that on you. Remember, executives do not need a tour of your analysis. They need to know what matters, why it matters, and what they should do next. Okay, so remember, you are not going to become a 175K analyst by working twice as many hours. This is good news. And you do not become one by collecting random software certifications. I'm sorry. You actually become valuable by increasing the quality, speed, and impact of your decisions. Technical skills will definitely get you in the conversation, but business judgment, ownership, communication, and really understanding the impact to the business, that's going to help you move up the ladder. So the difference between a 75K analyst and a 175K analyst is not simply how many tools they know, it's how much ambiguity they can handle, how much responsibility they can own, and how much measurable value we can create. And so next time you think about your career, do not ask, what new tools should I invest in or use? Ask yourself, what problems can people trust me to solve? Because the people who make the most money are rarely the people who produce the most charts. They're the people who make the important decisions so much easier. Okay, now tell me in the comments, which of these skills do you think you need to develop next? What were the aha moments, or where do you think you're missing or haven't ever been taught how to actually develop those skills? And if you want to learn how to use AI to become a more valuable analyst and knowledge worker, subscribe and join my newsletter through the link below.